Bad days. We all have them. We all dread them. We're all glad when they're behind us. If you know anybody who hasn't had a bad day, I want them on this video telling us how to do that, because I know we'd all like to do it. Otherwise, having bad days are just part of life. None of us are exempt. I get a little tickle sometimes because some people become Christian thinking that God will take care of all their problems. That's not how it works. But that's what people do. When they're in times of distress, they'll show up to church. In times of distress, they want some special prayers. And then they're out of trouble. They go, no, I don't need that anymore. They don't understand that Christianity is a way of life for the good days and the bad days. It's not just a spare tire you keep in your trunk just in case you have a flat. But let's face it, a lot of people think God's just their spare tire and they'll keep him around just in case they need him. In Philippians 4:11, we learn something about the troubles of life, and this is a very broad subject, but in Philippians 4:11 and 12, Paul said that he had learned in whatever state he was, he learned how to be content. He knew how to be full and have a lot of abundance, and he knew how to have a really hard time in poverty and limited resources. I find it interesting, this is just a side note, that Paul was one of the most amazing, miraculous, miracle working characters of the Bible, and yet Paul didn't get a shortcut to maturity with his spiritual gifts. He still had to learn through experience. He still had to discipline his body and bring it into subjection. And Paul sets us an example. No matter what your talents are, when it comes to dealing with bad days, you're simply going to have to learn through experience. And most of us, it's going to be trial and error, how to manage tough days. Christianity, not magic to make them go away. It's more of a management tool and how to get through them. So somebody said, you just got to laugh or cry. I kind of agree with that. You're in a bad place, and I'm not saying crying is wrong. There are absolutely times for tears, and Romans 12:15 would tell us to weep with those who weep. So there is a time for tears. But overall, moaning and belly aching and whining and complaining never fixed anything. You can look at a situation, you can laugh at it, make the best of it, look for solutions to it, or you can go hide. Go back in the house and hide from life and, hunker up in the corner somewhere, cover yourself up with a blanket, and let's just pretend that bad things don't exist. Well, that's not a very good way to live, is it? That's really called depression. Somebody in that case needs some help, and probably more help than I could give them. Whining. We whine about everything. Okay, I know. It's a national pastime to whine about politics, and I would agree that most of your observations about what are wrong with politics are correct. I don't have a problem with that in general, but let me ask you, how much good has our whining done? Politics has been corrupt for how long? Just about forever, right? Okay. I have old age on here because age is something we like to whine about. And, it's okay to say, I can't do what I used to do. Any of us who are over 60, we know I can't do what I used to do. So if we really, really sit around and get upset about it, sad and depressed about it, now what have we got? If we really, really get depressed and we just really try to be sad and upset about being older, now how healthier are we? How much did we improve? What did we add to our life through that? Nothing. Actually, those negative emotions are going to make a slowly deteriorating life, which is what age is, deteriorate all the faster, because science has shown us that negativity actually has a lot of measurable negative consequences on the physical body itself. Fascinating study, you'll have to Google that. So when you get talking about growing old, for example, just laugh about it. I'm at the age where they quit putting individual candles on my cake. Yeah, they buy the two big ones, the 6 and whatever number I need, and that's it. I think part of the reason was the grandkids were looking kind of afraid, like he's going to die if he tries to blow all those out, and they wanted a fire extinguisher somewhere around, so 2 candles a whole lot easier than 60-something. Frankly, I don't know. I got the wind to blow out 60-something candles. I know I'm a preacher, and I can be long-winded, but that ain't the same as blowing out candles. So we can whine, we can complain, or we can do something really constructive. We can look at the situation, and we can throw a fit like we're a 2-year-old toddler, or we can go, okay, here's the situation I'm in. What can I do about that now? And you would be amazed what you can do if you'll put your mind to it and just break it down to little bitty steps. Don't push yourself too hard, especially if you got some age on you. Now, if you're 20, go push yourself. You're over 40 somewhere? No, pushing yourself isn't going to work. So what you're going to have to do is the old Zig Ziglar thing, and I just love the thing because he was somewhere in his 40s and he decided he'd take up jogging. It was popular, but he knew he couldn't jog very far. So he got up in the morning and he put on his jogging suit, looked all professional and all, and jogged 1 block and then jogged back home. Not much of a jog, right? Next day he went out and he jogged 1 block and a mailbox. Got to that mailbox, turned around, went back home. But he went a little bit further. Now you see how this story's going. The next day he went out and he jogged 2 mailboxes. Then he came back home. And he kept adding a mailbox and adding a mailbox until he could literally get out there and jog and say he was a runner. Now I don't know if he was fast or not, but he could cover some miles, and he did it just by adding 1 mailbox at a time. You want to do something impressive, then just start, little bitty. If you can't meditate for half an hour, I get it. Meditation can be tough for us busy Americans. So you can sit around and whine about it and complain and moan, I can't meditate. And as long as you're whining, I can't meditate, you're stuck. Whining never led to the cure. But if you'll just sit down, and if you have a smartphone, then you have a timer on it, and set it for 1 minute. This week, I'm going to meditate for 1 minute, once a day. If you're really eager, do it twice a day. And then next week, bump it up to 2 minutes. Now, if you'll do that and bump it up a minute a week, which I don't suggest for a year, but you can, then you'll be meditating for 50 minutes by the end of a year. And all of it was just little bitty incremental steps. Now, the average meditation rate recommended is anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, so once you get there, you can stop. But you find a constructive response. What can I do? What can I change? What can I alter? It may be something in your physical environment you can alter. It may be something in the way you think and your attitude and your outlook. The meditation and prayer, for example, Bible reading, talking with friends, making connections, being part of a support group. What constructive response can I do other than sitting here all by myself feeling like I am the only one in the world who ever had a bad day? Now, we know it's not true, but that's the way we tend to feel sometimes. And then we accept that there is no cure. This is life. I've been using Acts 14:22 a lot lately, and I'll use it one more time as we close the video. We must enter the kingdom through many tribulations. If all you're having is a little bad day, then laugh. Look for the constructive answer. Don't be irresponsible. And press on the upward way. Something to think about, of course. Put your comments below, and as always, have a great day.